In our campaign trail, we have been in Baramati for an entire day today and have been trailing Supriya Sule for almost 2 days now, traveling with her, seeing her campaigning across the constituency of Baramati, even as she crisscrosses the urban areas, the rural areas. I have with me Supriya Sule right now, who will speak about the several issues that dominate this Lok Sabha election, how this election is different from all the other elections that she has seen, and what will be the issues that will dominate for this term, the fourth term that she is seeking a mandate for. Supriya Sule, thank you so much for your precious time and for speaking to CNN News 18.
My pleasure.
I will start with a non-political question because, you know, the political questions have been done to death and that is what you have been talking about all the time. You know, apart from the political developments, the biggest election that's taking place internationally, what's also making news is the fact that Tesla is coming to India, that in this political season, Elon Musk travels to India and that he is slated to make a big investment at a time when EV is the buzzword and EV policy has come to place. When MVA was in power, we had seen that there was a lot of buzz around EV and there were also some initial talks that had happened with Tesla. What is your expectation now that Tesla is going to come to India?
Well, I hope it comes to Maharashtra in a very big way. And EV is something very close to all our hearts. And a lot of companies, the bike companies, Bajaj Auto and so many others, who have been very committed to EVs. Now, the whole problem is we have to work together to make sure that the charging points are also available. So, we have to build the infrastructure which will support it. So, we have to, government and the private companies have to work together to take this EV project forward.
Your one-line message for Elon Musk, if we had to convey.
Welcome to Maharashtra.
Tai, thank you so much. You know, now moving on to politics, because you've been campaigning, it's a hectic political trail. The one issue that consistently comes up and the one issue that the India bloc is also talking about now is with respect to the credibility of the EVMs. Recently, even Priyanka Gandhi Vadra raised questions about its credibility, saying that, there is a possibility of tampering there, and if the BJP has to cross 180, it will have to use the EVMs. At a time when the Supreme Court is also hearing a case about it, what is your view on it?
Well, it's very hard for me to actually, because people are throwing so much information at you with technology and with artificial intelligence. There's so much change in technology, it's alarming. And you hear things about hacking, which never existed a few years ago. And actually, I've won 3 times so on the same EVM machine. So it would be unfair for me personally to run it down completely. I want to be fair and just about it. Just because I'm in the opposition, I don't want to run something down. But I would, with full humility, request the government of India, because financially, I really feel that financially, is it a viable model, or is it better to go back, since America has already gone back to paper ballot? So I think we should have a good academic discussion on it. And rather than getting into that tutu meme, you said it and I said it and I'm misusing and you're misusing, is there a much better way to have a mature dialogue on this?
The other issue that is being talked about is the electoral bonds that, in Maharashtra as well, we have seen a lot of discourse about it. The Uddhav Thackeray group has said chanda do, chanda lo kind of a scheme. It's being called the biggest scam by the opposition. Prime Minister has said that this is the biggest exercise in transparency.
Not at all. He's the honorable Prime Minister, and he's not only a Prime Minister of the BJP, he's the Prime Minister of India. So, for me, very, very with full humility and respect to the Honourable Prime Minister, I appreciate his point and I hear him out. But I still remember those days when somebody I dearly loved and respected is Shri Arun Jaitley. And Jaitley ji was somebody very, very close to all our hearts. We had ideological differences, but he was really our Mr. Popular. We loved him very, very dearly, and we still love him, and we miss him in Parliament immensely. But I remember when he brought in the bonds, we all debated with him very respectfully and said, Arunji, we really like you, we trust you. But this is something which is not going to work. And there were a lot of people across party lines who objected that this is going to be a scam. You're legalizing corruption.
Now that there is a serious discussion around it again, and now that this is election time, will we see the India bloc take up this issue as one of the important issues and go to people rallying around it, or do you think there will be other issues that will dominate this policy?
Corruption, price rise, and unemployment are three serious issues in this country. And purely by data, I'm not just doing jumlebaji like they do. Not at all. Is the economy doing well? Well, there are a lot of questions about it. Is there unemployment? Of course there is. And it's increasing every day. If people from IIT don't get jobs, I mean, who else are going to get jobs in this country? That's point number one. Second, price rise. You meet anybody. You run a home. Look at it. What has become sasta in this country? Nothing. And there's a huge agrarian crisis. It's not just a problem, it's a crisis. Think about it. Look at the sugar cane. Look at the ethanol policy U-turn. Look what they did in onion exports. They have just destroyed it. Then cotton, soya bean. They're saying doubling the farmer's income? It's a joke. Please, can somebody tell me which farmer's income has got doubled? Please give me data for it. Then they did this Krishi Sanman Yojana. So you give 6,000 and via all taxes, you're taking 24,000 back. So what is really the farmer getting? And the farmers' laws, what they debated, what they argued, nothing. So it's very, very unfortunate that it was a great opportunity with the kind of power and the numbers they had. Crude majority. 300 MPs. In Maharashtra, they have 200 MLAs. I'm like, oh my God, can you imagine if you had 200 MLAs? They would have been magic. What all a government could have done. But we don't see it effectively done anywhere.
So, effectively, currently there are two ways in which people are looking at this entire election debate. One is whether this election will be dominated by the issues which the country is facing. The other is whether this will be dominated by the faces which stand against each other. And that is the narrative that BJP has been giving time and again, that look, we have a strong leader. Look, we have a prime minister who has been at the helm for 10 years and has consolidated India's position. Who does the opposition have? When you look at the elections through these two binaries, how do you look at them?
Well, in 2004, where was the face? But Manmohan Singh ji is one of the finest prime ministers we have had, and you will see whenever history is written about India, he will be always remembered as one of the finest human beings and a leader.
So you think this time as well the electorate will look at it as an issue-based election, not a face-based election?
It has to be issue-based. Why should it be a personality-based?
I'm not sure if you'll like this question, but you
I
are a
love all
personal favorite of Amit Shah's when he recently came to Maharashtra. He said it was your love that split the party, and it was the love for Aditya Thackeray that his father had that led to the split in his party. The two takeaways from that rally that he did in Maharashtra, one was asking your father what he did for Maharashtra in the last 10 years and saying that the BJP had no role in splitting the parties and that it was your love that the father had for you that led to the split. How do you look at this?
Well, I'm very amused and I'm eternally grateful to him. There are three parts to this story. I'm eternally grateful to him because I'm free of the corruption charge. He used to come and say, naturally corrupt party, NCP. I'm free from that. So I feel great about it. I feel, because I'm here to serve the country. And when the corruption is taken away from our name, I feel absolutely elated. I'm overjoyed. That's point number one. Point number two, when he talks about Putri Prem, Putra Prem, who doesn't love their children? Yeah, I don't know anybody who doesn't love their children, and I'd never make it personal. So I'm amused by it. And of course, my parents love me. Yeah? What's wrong with that? We all love our children. That's point number two. And point number three, that you said that what did Sharad Pawar do in the last 10 years? Well, this is the government who gave him a Padma Vibhushan for his contribution of 6 decades in this country. So I think this says it all. And I don't have to make it personal if he makes it personal.
One of the things that the opposition has talked about through all these election campaigns is that the level of political discourse or the political happenings have deteriorated considerably in Maharashtra. It has become more acerbic, it has become more personal. For you particularly, this has personal connotations as well, because we are seeing a battle play out within the family in a constituency which was always considered the fortress of the Pawars, and the media had also covered it that way. Do you see that the level of political discourse has deteriorated?
Of course it has. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind about it. But I guess you just have to, for a while, put your chin up and do it, because the larger cause is far more important. So you have to deal with it.
But of late we are also seeing that there have been allusions to threats. The kind of public speeches that are being made, especially with respect to campaigning that's going on in your constituency itself. There are threats being made, or allusion to threats, if I may say. There's a complaint also in the with the Election Commission regarding violation of code of conduct with respect to it. But how do you see the fact that when somebody is in power, clearly has access to more funds, is alluding to threats, saying that if election doesn't happen in a particular way, then they will not get the funds? Do you see that development is being hampered, and specifically with respect to a fight against you, now that these kind of allusions are being made, it's a threat?
It's very, very unfortunate, and we fight the election within the parameters, purview of the Constitution of India. And the Election Commission, clearly, I expect them to take some action for a fair and just election. I mean, I don't think bullying is something that should be tolerated at all by anybody. And I think it's very sad that people in power today are intimidating the voters, scaring the voters, threatening the voters. This is not something good for a vibrant democracy that we have all are proud of, and our forefathers have worked very hard to get it.
Do you see MVA would have been a different force had it not been split like this?
Of course, anybody leaving and any organization, of course, is a loss. Clearly, anybody. I mean, why only the leaders? And both Shiv Sena and the NCP, the way they've been hurt is because I feel the dispensation in Delhi does not want strong leaders in the states or anywhere. They don't want to be challenged. They don't want to be challenged about the onion prices. They don't want to be challenged about the milk prices. They don't want to be challenged about the price rise. It's obvious, no? Otherwise, why? Look at Amol Kole and me. We were actually thrown out of parliament that day because we were asking for remunerative prices and opening up exports for the onion market. What's wrong with that?
सर्व घटक पक्ष सर्वांच्या शुभ असतील. विजयराव कोवळे साहेब उपसरपंच.
We are in Malegaon, Khurd, where we have been doing a campaign trail with Supriya Sule. This is a small sabha that was organized at the last minute after request by the villagers. We have been with her on the campaign trail for an entire day today. Among the several small sabhas that she has been holding from one village to another, we have now reached Malegaon, Khurd in Baramati. I have with me Yuvendra Pawar, who's a family member campaigning for his aunt. Yuvendra Pawar, tell us, the whole country is watching, the family is split in the middle. It's not just a political battle for you, it's a lot more personal.
See, I think it is more political. Our family, this is not the first time that people have had opposing or differing views, but it's the first time that a family member has been pit against another family member. So that is new for us. But say a family that has different views, that we've been used to. But this we felt is not correct. But hopefully, let's see, after the election, everything should go back to normal.
You're saying after elections, hopefully things will go back to normal. Are you alluding that the family will come back together?
I hope. Now let's see. I can't predict anything, or I'm not an astrologer. But as a family member, I'll definitely hope that things go back to the way they were.
We will continue with our campaign trail along with Supriya Sule. We've been trailing her for almost 2 days now. Let's ask her the next question, even as we are on the next phase of campaigning. Tai, the opposition parties have been fearing that if the BJP comes back to power, the Constitution of India will change forever.
Absolutely. I mean, I completely agree, and I've been saying that all the time in most of my speeches, for the reason that two BJP MPs have said it, that अब की बार 400 पार और संविधान बदलाएंगे हम. So this is what two BJP MPs have officially said it. So it's obvious it's on their agenda. It's not an allegation, it's facts. It's factual.
Is it a matter of fear? Because we spoke with Aditya Thackeray 2 days ago. He said it's not a matter of future. They're already changing the constitution and we are the first victims of it.
It's very alarming, it's disturbing and very concerning. And I think what I feel is that this is the beauty of India was the vibrant democracy that we have. And that's what is missing. People live in fear. You know, I'll give you a small example. People, I mean, like, I even wonder, I'm like, why? People, if you call somebody, say, Ruk, I'll call you on WhatsApp, I'll call you on FaceTime. This is not the fear. I grew up in India. I never saw the emergency. I've read about it, I've heard about it, but I've never seen it. I was too young. But clearly, this is the kind of fear that people are under now, be it businessmen, be it media houses, anybody. People are so scared. What are you scared of? Is my question. And look at what happened to Sanjay Singh. There's no case. And they're saying, oh, there's a trail, but we don't know where the money is. Excuse me, what are you thinking? Look what they did to Anil Deshmukh. Anil Deshmukh, the allegation was of 100 crores. And now it's a one. And not even that case.
It was 5 crore, then 3 crore,
Then one. And one of a case of 2012, not even now. So retrospective, then what happened to the 100 crores? They just vanished like this. What is this? I mean, how vindictive can you be? I mean, we are your opponents, ideological opponents. We are not your enemies. But the hostile environment that the government is doing is actually sad and shameful.
But Tahi, the question...
And it's hurting the constitution and hurting the whole soul of India.
Do you think that it will disturb the fabric of the country?
Of course it will. It already is. Who lived in fear, yeah? People could sit anywhere in India and criticize the highest office. And nobody said a word because it's a democracy. We had pride in even taking feedback. We had opponents. I remember when my father was Chief Minister of Maharashtra, people used to say anything about him. I'm like, oh my God, why are people saying that? My father used to say it's a democracy. People are allowed to say what they want. It's hard. But that's the liberal, modern, real India. And you know, we have a saying in Marathi, which somehow the government just doesn't get it, that they get so offended when we give feedback, which is only up to policy. I do never speak personal at all. So there's a saying in Marathi, Nindakache ghar asavi shezari, means the biggest critic should be your neighbor, because you're on a self-improvement journey. And policy making, no government makes perfect policies. There's always what I always tell the BJP is that when you give you feedback, if you improve, you are going to benefit more than me. Like the electoral bonds, had they not done it, they won't be in a soup today.
But then the BJP mocks at the India bloc, says there is no agenda, the parties are not sticking together, there's no face. Some parties come, some parties go away, they aren't together in a united sense, not able to put up a concerted fight.
What holds the BJP together is ICE. How is their alliance so strong? Because they use ICE against anybody, and we purely go by data. Parliament data says that 95% cases of ICE, which is income tax, CBI and ED, are against the opposition. This is Parliament data, not my data. So, and I think data speaks louder than words.
So do you think that 2024 Lok Sabha elections, the India bloc will be able to put up a concerted front?
Of course. Why not? Of course. Why would we not?
And what will the combination be? Will it change regionally? Because look, you have a combination where you have a national party and then you have regional strongholds in each and every party, in each and every state, where obviously the expectations will differ. You're seeing one Mamata Banerjee, you're seeing how Nitish Kumar came and then went away. How will these combinations pan out?
Please remember, let's go back a little bit in history. They were the coalition governments in India which actually have delivered superior results. The entire opening up of the economy, which I stand corrected if I'm wrong, but I think the Honorable Prime Minister talked about Narasimha Rao ji and Manmohan Singh ji as one of the finest finance ministers or prime ministers who opened this country. They were not ab ki baar 400 par. They were coalition governments, but they delivered. They changed our lives. The license Raj, which was probably required at a different time, changed. You have to, and it's no more India is an insulated economy. So how did we become a global player? Because these were the decisions that Dr. Manmohan Singh ji took. Strong decisions. But it happened, he delivered them.
Are you saying that the India bloc stands a good chance of, is there anti-incumbency, and does the India bloc stand a good chance of winning these elections?
Of course there is anti-incumbency, it's obvious. People are jaded. People are tired of the jumlas. Because nothing has really happened. I mean, the whole fight against corruption, where is it gone? If you ask me, in 2014 when they said that, na khaunga, na khane dunga, or, Congress Mukta Bharat and all that, there are more Congresses in the BJP today than the Congress itself. So how does it change? How does it change India? Can somebody explain that to me? Maharashtra has 200 MLAs. What is the magic that this government has done with this kind of power? Brute majority.
Fine, with respect to national elections, you're standing for the Lok Sabha elections, but obviously, considering that you are an MP from Maharashtra, there's a lot going on within Maharashtra politics as well. You see, on one hand, there are internal bickerings between both the Mahayuti as well as the Mahavikas Aghadi. But there are several more seats in the Mahayuti where they have not yet declared a candidate, where the tussle continues, where the internal bickering is so severe that we are seeing meetings after meetings happen. How do you see this whole combination working out in Maharashtra? I'm asking you for both the combinations.
See, for us, we have settled most of our issues. We've really not had any major hiccups. 1 or 2 seats, yes, there is a problem actually only in 1, not even 2 anymore. And I think in any alliance, only Sangli.
Mumbai South Central continues to be a problem.
South Central is not as critical or as harsh as Sangli is. Sangli has some pain. It's not, I won't say it's a challenge, it's pain. It's emotional attachment of that. So it's not a hard conflict that I want and you want. It's an emotional issue. And I think more or less it's sorted. We announced all our seats. We at least know who's going to get it. Unlike theirs, normally I don't like to comment on other people's alliance because it's their business, not my business. But one observation from a distance that I see, for the BJP, which claims to be such an over-oiled, efficient election machinery, how come they did not see this happening in Maharashtra? How can there be so much conflict? Why are there so many changes? Because they claim to be very, very efficient and organized. And how come they should have announced it in the first go? So it's surprising.
Do you see this as, in Marathi we say, येणाऱ्या गोष्टीची नांदी. Do you see this in some sense as the way in which both Mahayuti as well as Mahavikas Aghadi will perform in Maharashtra?
Well, it's eventually the people will decide. It's hard to say, but our alliances and the combinations or the delays actually affect that own organization and the own seat. It's like Aurangabad, Sambhajinagar. Sambhajinagar, we have campaigned and gone weeks ahead, while they are nowhere in the scene, which is favoring us. So I'm very happy that they are doing what they are doing. Because otherwise they have this whole thing of Jingoism. Even in Parliament I see it very closely. There's Jingoism. They'll bring something small and they'll make such a melodrama out of it. It's like the women's reservation bill. There was a special session called for it, and the minute, I still remember that moment when they loaded the bill, Manish Tiwari, my friend and colleague, was sitting right behind at an angle and said, Supriya, you haven't opened, and this Digital India, you must have forgotten, but they were saying Digital India, Stand Up India, Bhagwan Janya or what all, or that Jingoism activity that they do. So the laptop in front of me and Kanimoli and all of us was taking long to load. So I immediately rushed to him and I said, what happened? So he says, this is Jumla. I said, no, yeah, how can it be Jumla? It's a women's reservation bill. What can be the Jumla? He said, it ain't happening. I said, what do you mean? So Manish pointed out to me, and unless delimitation is done, this is not going to be implemented. Now, if delimitation is not done, that means it was not going to happen till 2029. Then why did you have a 5-day special session, spend crores of rupees on it? What did we achieve? Well, like we always said in our speeches during that session, that check दिया है, उस पे sign कर दिया, हमारा नाम लिखा है, लेकिन तारीख नहीं लिखी है. So it is another jumla, unfortunately.
Do you think that religion will be an important issue in this election on the basis of which people will vote across the country?
I'm not so sure about that, but one thing I'll tell you, the economic issues are seriously challenging and they are alarming. And purely I'm going by data. I'm not going by just a critic. Please walk on the streets anywhere in India. Is unemployment a challenge? Yes, it is. Is price rise an issue? Yes, it is. महंगाई हुई है? हाँ, ज़रूर हुई है. And corruption is an issue they cannot walk away from. Today I can talk about it absolutely and say that please, you need to be accountable to this country because you promised us that you will eradicate corruption. What happened to that? What happened to all the allegations? And we never made them. BJP made all the allegations. So if they were false, are they real or they are not? If they are real, you know what to do. And if they are false, BJP must apologize to every family and the party that they have made these allegations against.
But do you see it as a matter of concern that this whole rallying happens around a religion, and that, opposition has continuously been saying that the society is being divided communally, that there's a different...
Keep trying there, but I think right now the economic issues are extraordinarily challenging. At least personally for me in this entire election, the water scarcity in the constituency is huge and it's very extraordinarily painful for me.
Tai, one last question, and that is with respect to MVA. In the larger sense with India, but we will talk about that later, because considering that after Lok Sabha, Maharashtra has elections of Vidhan Sabha.
Yeah.
Several speculations are doing the round that maybe after the Lok Sabha, we will again see political combinations change. Will the MVA stick together in the form that it is right now?
Why would it not? Why would it not?
Is that an emphatic yes?
Of course, yes. I see no reason. We worked so well in the 2.5 years. If just think logically, had this ice not happened, why would the first break happen? So I see absolutely no reason for the way it all happened. And it's this vindictive way of politics which is not our Indian culture. It's something new. It's this BJP 2.0. The original BJP was never like this. A lot of wonderful people and wonderful leaders in that party. I have a lot of high regard for all of them.
Supriya Tai, you've been very candid and very kind with your time. Thank you
Not at all.
so much for your time, and we wish you all the best through these elections.
Thank you very much, and I'm sorry you have to stay the whole day up like this.
No, this is what we bring to our viewers. We bring the entire campaign trail with a big neta. Thank you for being our neta.
I'm not a big neta. I'm a committed party worker for the larger interest, and I'm only here to serve.
So this was an entire day spent with Supriya Sule campaigning on her campaigning trail in the constituency of Baramati. We thank her for her precious time, even as we wish her luck for the elections. With video journalist Manish Dubey, this is Vinaya Deshpande from Baramati.